Hello everyone, I am Rais Ahsan, and in this presentation, I will explain you my study paper with title of Does Key Opinion Leader and User-Generated Content as a Moderating Variable Affect Customer Purchase Interest in Indonesian FnB Industry? Study of KOL with UGC as a moderating variable on Indonesian CPI. This study paper is supervised by Ilham Fauzan Putra. So the agenda of today's presentation we will have 7 points that I will explain one by one. This first thing first, I will explain why I chose this specific topic as my study paper. So basically, based on Badan Pusat Statistik in 2022, the FnB sector in Indonesia is proven to experience a rapid growth with an increasing competition among businesses. This means that a lot of new businesses is coming into the market, especially after pandemic of COVID-19. They are starting to build up their economic back by creating a business and trying to get into the market without knowing the strategy, specifically in marketing, how they sell it, and how they attract customer and attract their interest of their target customer. That's basically why I chose this specific paper, and it also supported by a lot of studies. For example, the study that proved that KOL have been an influential role in building a brand, and then KOL also positively impact customer purchase interest, and so on and so forth.
Next, these are the research question and research objective of my paper. There are three body of main research question. The first one is, does key opinion leader impact Indonesian customer purchase interest in the FnB industry? And the objective is to prove whether KOL is impact Indonesian customer purchase interest in FnB industry or not. And the second one is, does UGC of FnB products impact Indonesian CPI? The third one is, does key opinion leader impact Indonesian customer purchase interest through UGC as a moderator in FnB industry? And the research objective for the third research question is to test or to prove whether key opinion leader really impact Indonesian customer purchase interest through UGC as a moderator. And for the scope and limitation of the study is that the data that being collected is at least 100 respondents, and the respondents need to be Indonesian and active social media users. And the limitation of this study is there are possibility of biases, respondent honesty, and also external factor that influencing the customer behavior or influencing the way they will answer the questions. And the data that being collected may not represent all areas of Indonesia, and it potentially limiting the generalizability of the findings. Moving on, this is the literature review for the first research question, which is KOL impact Indonesian customer purchase interest in FnB industry or not? And on the top right is the definition of KOL by Roger and Cartono in 1962. And then there's also a study that mentioned key opinion leader have positively impact by using a direct persuasive message based on Han et al. 19. And according to Tobin and Garcia, the messages that key opinion leaders spread have a fine influence on their followers' attitudes and purchase interest. Moving on, the second literature review for the second research question is about user-generated content that impact Indonesians' customer purchase interest. And also, this is the definition of UGC as to build up the understanding for the reader of my paper about UGC, which is it defined as a unique content uploaded to the internet by individuals based on Jonas 2010. And these are some of the references also. States that UGC encourage people to express their opinion and experiences. Next is for the third research question, which is the combination of KOL and also user-generated content as a moderator that impact customer purchase interest. And based on Kim and Lee, user-generated content is content that is not paid promote coded. And also, by combining KOL and positive UGC, it will create a powerful persuasion mechanism that will stimulate customer purchase intention that also will lead to customer purchase interest, based on Chen et al. 2020. And these are the previous studies that I could mention. The first one I have Salaya in 2018. And the study is targets to evaluate the effect of user-generated content on manufacturer attitudes and purchaser by intention. So purchase interest will lead to purchase intention. So I could use this as a previous study, and also LUC that investigate the effect of direct marketing on live publication, that I will also connect with the customer purchase interest, and also Shen et al. That mention by combining KOL and UGC, they will create a powerful persuasion mechanism that simulates customer purchase intention, or I can say customer purchase interest in this context. Moving on, this is the research design and methodology. So this paper will utilize a quantitative approach, and the research design is that the questionnaire will be spread by using Google Form, and I'm using SPSS 29th version to analyze the data, and the sample of the data is from Indonesian citizen that is actively using social media, and the sample size is 100 participant, and it's not limited by gender, and the range of the age of the respondents is 15 until 40 years old. The geographical representation is, of course, have to be Indonesian. Moving on, these are the research measurement items. And as you can see on the screen, the measurement items were adopted from the previous researcher. However, although they may not specifically refer to the same exact context of this research, each of the measurement items being adopted has a connection with the variable that is being tested in this research. And according to Sugiono, all of the measurement items is using a Likert scale from 1 to 5, because a Likert scale is used to assess a person or a group attitudes and opinions towards social phenomenon. Next one is the hypothesis. Based on the measurement items, also based on the literature review, I came up with three main hypotheses that will be tested in this paper. So, and I also created a conceptual thinking or conceptual framework that is being adopted from Liana 2009. So it can be seen, the hypothesis 1 is whether KOL has a positive impact on Indonesian CPI in the FnB industry. Hypothesis 2 is UGC on FnB product has a positive impact on Indonesian CPI. And hypothesis 3 is UGC moderates the relationship between KOL and CPI towards FnB in Indonesia. And these are the tests that is being utilized in this study paper. The first one is validity test and reliability test, and the second one is classical assumption test that conclude normality test, heteroscedasticity test, and linearity test. And for testing the hypothesis, I'm using moderated regression analysis or MRA test, and also R-squared test. And I will also mention the data limitation in this study. So jump into the result data. So based on the Pearson correlation method and also Cronbach alpha test, both of the tests is showing that the data that's being utilized is valid and also reliable. Next, for the respondent profile, female gender in this study is being the majority of the participant, and the people with 21 until 29 years old is the majority of respondent. That indicates Gen Y or millennial in this context. Moving on, this is also the respondent profile. I'm getting 25 cities and 12 provinces in Indonesia, which it only covers 35.294% of Indonesia itself, which is being the limitation of this study paper. And the most people of the participant came from Bandung or West Java province in Indonesia. Moving on, for the classical assumption, the first one is normality test. I'm using histogram graph, PP plot, and also Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. And three of the tests is showing that the data that I'm being used is normal. Next one, for the heteroscedasticity test, is scatter plot and also Glaser test. And both of the tests showing that the data is free from heteroscedasticity. Next is for the linearity test. I'm using ANOVA deviation from linearity, and based on the value of deviation from linearity, the data that being used is also linear between each other variable. Next is for the hypothesis testing. I'm using moderated regression analysis, and in this test, I will conduct 3 times, which is equation 1 testing in the independent variable with the independent variable. Equation 2 is regression equation with 2 independent variable and moderator as independent of the dependent variable. And equation 3 is dimension. MRA test is being utilized to prove whether UGC could be UGC can be mentioned as a moderating variable or not. And based on the result, this is the equation 1. The result of the equation 1 proved that the higher the role of influence of key opinion leader, the higher customer purchase interest, because the value of significant of independent variable or key opinion leader is below 0.05, which is considered as significantly impacting the dependent variable. And for the second equation, it proved that the higher the role of influence of KOL and UGC, the higher the customer purchase interest. By seeing also the significance of UGC in this matter, the significant values is below 0.05, which indicates that it also significantly impacts CPI. And for the third one, the third equation is showing that although it's not significant for the interaction variable, equation 1 and 2 shows no difference in significance and influence, while equation 3 showing differences. So based on the Sharma et al. 1981, the interaction variable could be mentioned as a pure moderator, and in this context, UGC can moderate the relationship between KOL and CPI. And to prove and to strengthen the data, R-square test is being tested, and based on the value itself, the R-square for equation 1 until equation 3 is keep increasing from 0.221 to 0.304 and to 0.314, which concludes that the presence of UGC as a moderator is strengthened the relationship or the impact of KOL to the customer purchase interest. And with that being said, all of the 3 hypotheses is being accepted. To conclude, all hypothesis is accepted based on the result data, and so the hypothesis 1 is supported or in line with the study from Salaya 2018. Hypothesis 2 is also in line with Salaya 2018, and hypothesis 3 is also in line with Salaya 2018 and also LiuC 2023. So in this study paper, I will recommend for the future researchers as the theoretical recommendation. For the future research, I recommend people to use result data and also conduct a cross-culture comparison, such as not only Indonesia, maybe could compare Indonesia with Singapore, or also tested this context in other geographical areas, such as Malaysia and across countries, and also longitudinal studies. And researchers should explore optimizing influencer marketing strategies by studying different KOL, UGC platforms, and also moderating factors. Additionally, investigating KOL collaboration with brand is also beneficial for the future researchers to enrich this result of my study paper. And for the managerial recommendation, I recommend new businesses in Indonesia to use KOL and UGC to enhance customer purchase interest. And then also collaborating with influential KOL is also beneficial because it's being proven that KOL have a significant impact to customer purchase interest, and also UGC significantly influence CPI, so businesses should also use UGC as their marketing strategies. And by combining KOL-driven campaign with UGC, it will create a compelling narrative and a strong synergic effect on customer purchase interest. And for this, for the additional recommendation for FnB businesses, they should target 21 until 29 age group with a diversity marketing channels to optimize the effort and gain a competitive edge in Indonesian markets. And with that being said, that's all is my presentation. These are the references, some of the references on this presentation slides that I attach here. And thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that my paper could help the businesses in Indonesia and also help the future researcher to enrich and also to explore the marketing world and to be better each year and to be better for the future. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.